Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The process of gaining knowledge starts with inquiry. Without an inquiry, if a person plunges into gaining knowledge, that is how we were all trained to gain knowledge. In schools and universities, there is no inquiry from the student perspective. The student is not inquiring into what is algebra, what is geometry, what happened, history, what is the geographical things, what is the topography of this place. He doesn't have that inquiry. The student is not having. The student is studying those subjects, those portions were studied only because it has been added. So they study, that's all. With that same methodology, the same way we come to philosophy also. Scriptural studies also, what can become this is because the process which is known to us is just to receive information. As far as we are concerned, knowledge pursuit means gathering information. The one who gathers more and more information is considered by all of us as knowledgeable person. The one who has more information than me will be considered by me as a knowledgeable person. So knowledge pursuit is what? Path of knowledge means what? Gathering information. And for what you gather information, when it comes to scholastic field, worldly subjects, you gather information only for one purpose. What is it? Which will give a better career perspective. Isn't it? That's why first option, every parent would like to have their child to become a doctor first. Why? Because guaranteed, as long as human beings are existing, they will get diseases. As long as diseases are there is no problem. So as far as we are concerned, the worldly knowledge we gather only to prey on people who don't know that. Then there's people say engineering. Then they say we have to study law, chartered accountancy, every field. Okay. Now the problem is when you come to the scriptural knowledge, there is no market value for scriptural knowledge. Right? There's no great market value for it. Ask me, how do you know? I'm in the field. It's been 25 years now. So I know there's no value for it. Then why do you gather information? Only to pass it on to others. That's all. You see, just to impress on others. So the manner in which we know the process of gaining knowledge is only through just cramming information. So I gather that information, I impress upon you people. Because there is no utility value for this. Whereas knowledge of medicine, knowledge of engineering, knowledge of law, knowledge of this one, that one. Everything has a utility value. When it comes to the scriptural knowledge, there's no, then what is it for? Just the information we gather, pass it on to others. That's why a lot of effort being put in. He says, that's not Gnana Yoga, he says. That's the first thing he dismisses. It's not scholarship. In this process, when you gain this knowledge, you can only have so much of information and impress on people, pass on to others. At the best, what you can do, can pass it on to others. But that is not it. Then what is Gnana Yoga? Gnana Yoga means the process starts with an inquiry. This inquiry attitude should be there. Now, what is this inquiry? Inquiry in the sense, a deep desire or wanting to know what is there. What is this? Exactly like how you wait for the newspaper in the morning. Right. Now, after this 24/7, channels and all that, we don't, many people don't understand, the current generation, because it's all coming in your mobile updates come. There is a meeting that happened, CBSE board has decided to, the moment they take that decision and the person has completed that meeting, he has not walked back to his car. I have already received that information that exams are postponed. See, in this generation, we don't understand. The older generation will understand. Newspaper. You switch on. People wait for that. I remember, people scold the newspaper boy because he came late. Not that he is coming late, 3-4 hours around. 15 minutes. That 15 minutes, if that newspaper is not there in the morning, because, why they read that newspaper is very interesting. I know people, who take that newspaper to restroom. I say, I don't understand what is the connection. They say reading the newspaper there is much better than reading the paper in the hall. Balcony you sit and read newspaper is not. That's called that inquiry, that wanting to know. You see, wanting to know about what? See, just that pursuing knowledge by itself doesn't make it Gnana Yoga. Exactly like, just because a person is doing prayers doesn't mean he becomes a bhakta. Similarly, just because a person is studying doesn't mean he becomes a practitioner of Gnana Yoga. Then what makes a person the practitioner of Gnana Yoga? He asked the question, for what you wanted to gain this knowledge? See, for what? For what you want to learn all this? If at all you wanted to gain this knowledge, for what we attempt to gain this knowledge? Our understanding of this knowledge is only one thing. What? Can I use this knowledge in my practical life? Right. That's all. Then what you do? You gather some input here and there. One idea here, one idea there. You pick up and that knowledge has been some use to you in dealing somewhere here and there, in fact. And then we start believing what? I've been practicing this path of Gnana. There is nothing of that sort. That is not going to make it practitioner of Gnana Yoga, he says. You become the practitioner of Gnana Yoga. Knowledge. You want to pursue it for what? To make your life more comfortable in the world. Can this knowledge be of some use to make my life comfortable? living here. I'm not saying this will not be useful. That's not my point. You see, incidentally, it will help you as a byproduct. Remember, that's not the main product. That's why there's any effort you put in, always there are two things. One is Mukhya Pala, another one is referred as Avantara Pala. The main objective and a byproduct. You go to temple. What is the Mukhya Pala of going to temple? Good that you people are not, there in front of me. Otherwise, I'll get weird answers. So it depends on which temple, sir. Mukhya Pala of going to Tirupati is what? Hello says Laddu. No. Venkatapati is not, main one there. You go to this, Ayyappa temple. What is that? Aravana Paisam. That's the best one. See, you may go there. Incidentally, you may get that prasad and eat. And you can enjoy that prasad also. That is also good. Not that you should not. But you cannot say the main purpose of going to temple itself is only for that. Isn't it? There are two different things. One is the main product and then the byproduct. Incidentally, something will come out. Similarly, when you are pursuing this knowledge, what is that you are going to keep as a main objective of your study? That defines whether your study is going to be considered as Gnana Yoga or not. Just because you are studying doesn't make. Without attempting to find an answer to the fundamental questions of life, if you pursue this knowledge, then it's just a time pass, a good entertainment. Like people go to bhajan, they are in tears. When this bhajans, is sung, they go into the raptures and they are in tears. That is a time, I had a chance to watch one of the video of live show. One of my friend had that, cassette with him because I was interested in Western music also, English. In my house, I'm the only one who used to listen. Nobody in my house would like. My grandmother, my father and all will get annoyed when I play those songs. But they couldn't say anything, therefore they allowed. So this, my friend knew that I liked. So he had one, those days we had this VCR, the tapes, video tapes were there. He was showing me this Michael Jackson, one of the live concerts. And I saw that. That's the last thing I saw. After that, I stopped, watching. Not because of my Michael Jackson song. I couldn't believe one thing in that. There, I saw all those people who are watching. I was not watching much of Michael Jackson, actually. I was so fascinated by the audience. Exactly same reactions, same responses of people what I have seen in bhajans also. There also they go into raptures and they cry, explode. Same thing I saw in Michael Jackson also. I said, hey, then it has got nothing to do with Lord Rama, Krishna. It's nothing to do with Krishna. It has nothing to do with Rama. It's to do with what then? Just the tempo. You see, it's just building the tempo. I said, if tempo is what is going to make me cry, I used to get, really lost in that. I saw this, I was really, surprised within myself. I said, what are you doing then? As I start asking myself, I said, then both are same. No difference. There also they cry, here also you cry. And they also, they get into that ecstasy. You also get into the ecstasy. That difference. I couldn't answer that. Similarly, you study for what? For what you are trying. And immediately you will say what? Yeah, trying all these things are only for what? There are some corrections to be done in my personality. There are some mistakes are there. Some flaws are there in my personality. So what I have to do first, let me, process this whole knowledge through which I can make some corrections to my personality. So let me be a better person. So one day what will happen? Let me be a better person, better person, better person, better person, better person. And one day what will happen to me? I will start getting into this questions of life. Remember, it will never happen. It has never happened. And it's not going to happen in future also. It has never happened in the past. It's not happening in the present, and it will never happen in the future also. Then what are we doing? Without attempting to find answers to the fundamental questions. I go about. Then what are we doing? We do gain this knowledge. We do. What is all this? That courage is needed for you to plunge in. Our knowledge is exactly like a man who studies various books on swimming. What all the different principles involved in swimming, what all the different styles, what type of swimming should be done in which type of water body, how you got to manage this, that, and he knows everything. But only thing is what? He has never touched water. He refuses to plunge into water. But he has all the knowledge. That's exactly what our condition is. You need tremendous courage to plunge into water. You may not know all the principles involved in swimming. What is the density of water? What is the density of this? How does this work? How does that work? That thing you may not know, but you can jump into water, swim across, and go to the other shore. Whereas this fellow will know all the knowledge, but he will never jump in. But the tragedy here is he will believe himself to be a knowledgeable person. That's where the problem is. This scholastic study, scholarship, scholarliness is a very, very dangerous position. Like, this actually happened in the life of Einstein. He was going around, giving lectures on relativity, to various places. Now, those days is not like today. People are not having that pictures and, things are all not shared so fast these days. Those days is not. So when some university, when they invited, they don't know who is Einstein, but they've heard about him. He got so bored. And his car driver, he said, "Sir, I can give that same presentation." And Einstein was really surprised. "Can you?" He said, "Yes, I can do that. You relax, I will do. You be my driver." So they switched. So the driver came, obviously in our country, understood is what? The one who is driving is a driver. The one who is sitting in the back seat is a speaker. So that's how it is. Understood that is. So he took the car And they received this man. They thought he looked very different. They said, this is not the way the teacher looked. Maybe they thought, photograph, they had a haircut or something, because his, hairstyle is different. Imagine, Abdul Kalam comes with a different haircut. You can't recognize. He need to come only in that, hairstyle. So he changes hairstyle, you can't recognize. Like that, maybe a haircut or something. They thought they took that fellow inside, and to the surprise, this fellow spoke on relativity 1 hour. Einstein thought that guy will get exposed. He spoke on relativity for 1 hour. And the blunder he made was this. The conclusion of Einstein always was this. Any clarifications, I'm throwing open to the audience. Any doubts? There. And Einstein said, watch, whole thing is going to be exposed now. Because the fellow has no clue on physics. The driver has no idea of physics. But he was lecturing for 1 hour on gravity, relativity. That's exactly what our condition is. You don't need to have any knowledge of what love is. You will give a lecture on love. You need not have any knowledge of what is sacrifice. You will give a lecture on sacrifice. You need not have any knowledge on God. You can lecture on God. There's no problem. Just because you are lecturing, this episode is one which gave me confidence to start giving lectures. I said, if he can do, I said, I can also do. Only problem is what? No Q&A. Question answer comes, there's a problem. But that guy is very smart. He escaped. When somebody asked a question, that car driver, understood. You have made a mistake. So he's very brilliant fellow. Yes. The fact that he could memorize the entire lecture must be, having some intelligence. So when one of the, assistant, professor asked a question from the university, he said, such a simple question. I need not answer. My driver will answer, teacher. And walked out. And instant the driver came and, gave a reply and told all the audience, this is what had happened. That's where he wrote his famous, statement. Human beings are weird. They can talk eloquently on things that they have no clue of. You don't have to have a clue of what is God. You can be so eloquent about it. There is no problem at all. Talk about things. 99% of humanity falls into the category. Therefore, what happens? That looks normal. See, because we always go by what? Majority. We are all democratic people. So what we do, sir? We go by majority. What is majority? 99% of people are like that. So therefore, we assume what? The one who is more eloquent is knowledgeable. So all that you have to do is what? Gain that. All that you have to do is, and human beings are excellent in imitation. Humans are the best imitators of world. You can imitate so well, so well. But the man who has the courage to question, turn around and inquire into all this. I'm seeking what? I'm seeking knowledge. You're seeking knowledge for what? What for you seek knowledge? You say what? I'm just seeking it because I have some discomfort I experience in life. So, what I have to do, I seek this knowledge to find a solution to that discomfort. And fundamentally, what is it? This is what the difference is. Inquiry. An inquirer will say, okay, essentially, what is the problem we face? All human problems can be bracketed in two categories. There's nothing more than this. You can never have anything beyond this two. Okay, you can have one more, three. Bargain. Bargain. Only two? I say, okay, three. Appada. Three problems are there. We are happy. When I'm reducing it, people don't really say, well, easy sir to handle. I remember one class, one fellow argued with me. He said, no, only two are. As I'm dishing out, some freebies. I said, problems are only two. You should be happy, actually. People are not happy. So what I have to do is I said, three problems are there. Then he said, that is okay. I understand. All your problems are what, sir? Only this material problem or some physical disease or emotional. That's all it is. There's nothing beyond these three. Material problem. In a material problem, we are not able to meet the ends. Who says that? The Queen of England says, I am not able to meet the ends. One fellow asked me, what about you? I said, one end itself is not there. We are talking about two ends. Because two ends is what? One is, sir, prices are increasing. I said, your pay is also increasing. Your salary also increases, no? It's not that only the prices have been increasing. Price also increases, salary also increases. And immediately we'll say, what? That is increasing in different proportion. This is increasing at different speed. So therefore, what? They're not able to meet the ends. Now, who is able to meet the ends? Everyone says what? That's all your problems. Any material problem, anything we say, finally, what you come to, sir? Only this. I'm not able to meet the ends. Whoever is able to meet the end says what? There is no material problem for them. If not a material problem, what is it then? Some disease. Right. Some physical disease. Back pain is there. Headache. Or else one says what? Kidney failure. Liver failure. Some disease. That's all. So you got to find a solution only for what? Only for that. Or else a person says what? Sir, no diseases, money, no problem at all. But there is no peace in life. There's no peace. There's so much of problem. There's a problem with my husband, a problem with my neighbor, a problem with my colleague, problem with the boss. Some relationship problem. All relationship problems are what? Emotional. All this is what? Just the emotional problem. He is not all right, he's not all right, that's not all right. And what is common in all these three? All problems, this is what we mean by fundamental. So much boiled down to three. That three also gets boiled down to one. All this we talk about, all these problems we discuss only with reference to what? And for everyone, their problem is the most complicated problem. No matter what that problem is. Difficult. And everyone feels that same pain. Similarly, everyone feels the same joy. The joy of a boy, remember that joy, that, the winning league, they say, after winning that. Remember in my school, Santo, we had one athlete, Gilbert. I don't know how come that fellow did not come into national level at least. Gilbert. Oh, what an athlete he was. After the winning in the school sports, it's just a school sport. That's about it. A school, there's a competition between this house, that house, this house, that house. There are four houses. Between the four houses, there is this one, and then whoever get that cup, and he won the cup. And I remember the way he was holding that cup, the way he was jumping around with that cup, the way he was hugging, is the same thing done by Federer with the Wimbledon or Nadal. These people, anyone. I'm not saying only Federer now. All this, World Cup. And these guys win that World Cup. With the World Cup, how you do is the same thing you do with that one tournament, local tournament. You see, the joy is also same. Same way, the pain experience is also same thing. There's no difference. It's not that you lose a contract for 1 million. You lose a contract of 10,000 rupees. Proportionately, that pain will be, sir. It's not like that. The pain of that 10,000 is that same pain experienced by this fellow who loses here. The pain is same. The pain of the child who is struggling to solve that mathematical problem. Third standard child trying to multiply, divide. How to divide this from this? How to divide 8 by 10? How to do that? That is the real confusion of that child. It's the same confusion you will have to the person who is a sleepless nightmare they will get. The child gets a nightmare. Same nightmare is what this will also gets. The pain remains the same. The same pain. But only difference is what? The source we will attribute is different. And what is so interesting about all the sources that we can think of is always we will say the source is outside. The source of my problem is outside. Never inside. So all the problem, this is what is meant by fundamental question. You bring it down to the basics. You say, everything you do, you should have the capacity to bring it down to the fundamental thing. Essentially, what are we asking? Essentially, what are we experiencing? The pains of life. We are seeking knowledge for what? To find solutions to my problem. Finding solutions to your problems is not the process of Gnana Yoga. Then what is Gnana Yoga? Gnana Yoga starts with the fundamental thing to see life as a mystery. You got to see life as a mystery first. And when you see that as a mystery, you start inquiring into, is that all? Or is there anything beyond this? But immediately your mind will say what? First, let me attend to these problems. Let me attend to my immediate problem first. What is my immediate problem? When am I going to get my corona vaccine? That is the immediate problem. When am I going to get my income? When are we going to move from break even and start making profit? That's my immediate problem. So Ishwaran, give me a solution for that. It's exactly like the person, waiting for all the waves to subside, then go into the ocean for bath. Then I will get into bath. Then I will take bath in the ocean. Impossible. Vain is your hope. Says, alas, vain is your hope, says the Upanishad. You can never do that, man. You've got to plunge into that thing. And that demands a tremendous courage. This path of Gnana demands courage more than your willingness to learn. It demands your courage. Courage for what? Courage to question the fundamentals. To question those fundamentals and seek to find answers, and reflecting on those ideas again and again is called Gnana Yoga. To question these things and plunge in is the process of gaining knowledge. And as you keep doing it, that idea will remain the same, but it will get more and more intensified. It gets more and more intense as you keep going. Like in the, school, you study about law of gravity. In MSc also you study law of gravity. In PhD also you study about law of gravity. Law of gravity will not change. It's the same thing. But the intensity with which the PhD student studies about law of gravity is totally different from the school student studying about law of gravity. That intensity will increase. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. But human beings are fantastic imitators. So what you do? You will start imitating. Ramana Maharishi asked this question, who am I? Therefore, what I will also do. That's the question, who am I? We all become exactly like the Einstein's car driver. You can also speak slightly better than even Ramana. Even Ramana Maharishi will not be able to explain like how you can explain. Imitators are always like that. You imitate that. Inquiry into the origin and the mystery of life. See? So first requirement for you to be plunging into the path of Jnana, an intellectual, I've already said this. Jnana Yoga is designed for intellectual people. The mark of intellectual personality is to see life as a mysterious process. And to see life, to his eyes, the life will look mysterious. It will appear mysterious. Now, I can't plant that mystery into you. That is not possible. See, that perception, to see life as a mystery, to see that, if that awakening has not happened, nothing can be done. Awakening in the sense, not realization. You see, now that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about life to see these experiences. Now, I don't know who I am. Isn't it a mystery that you are living life without knowing who you are? Isn't it a mystery that you just go on living life without knowing the starting point, without knowing the end point? What is all this? The belief. This is what the imitating is. Imitation is. So much so that you believe that you have understood life. That's all. This is the last nail in the coffin. That's it. No chance after this. If you have already believed. And how do you get into this belief? Hitler is the one who gives beautifully. He says, how you get into it, sir? Repeat a lie 10 times. You will start believing that lie to be true. That's all. All that you have to do is what? Repeat. Keep repeating. That's enough. You just have to repeat. So that's what Mullah Nasruddin did. He told one fellow coming from morning walk, went for a morning walk and he was coming. He planted about 4 or 5 guys. He gave them tips, 10 rupees he gave. All that you have to do is what? As this man walking, you just have to cross him and ask, what happened to you? You are looking pale. Right. He just finished his walk and he's coming back. He said, what happened to you? You look so tired. Second fellow. Third fellow came. What happened to your eyes? Dark circles have come, What happened to you? You seem to have lost so much. What happened? Fourth fellow asked, what happened to you? Fifth fellow asked, what happened to you? Straight the fellow went and admitted himself in the hospital. And Mullah went and told him, see, I told you. Those fellows are planted by me. They are healthy actually. But what is it? Just have to repeat. Just repeat. Let's repeat. We never probe into what we are repeating. That repeated thinking just goes on and on and on. And what is the repetition? There is the source of my problem is outside. Repeat. Today, what is it? It's obvious. For my problem, cause is where? Outside. Or we are all intellectual people. There is another group of guys who say, sir, it's not that, can't say always only me the problem. Okay. A lot of them get annoyed. That's why most people don't come for advice. Anyone who comes for advice get annoyed. First time I say, it's your mistake. They'll say, okay, sir, they go. Second time I say, it's your mistake. They go. Third time I say, it's your mistake. They immediately get annoyed with me. Always only me wrong, is it? Huh? Say at least once, no. They are also wrong. Say at least once. So what is it? 50% I am the cause, 50% you are the cause. Now I am happy. But who is more? There also will say, what is it? 51%, 49%. It's never 50-50. It's always what? 51% outside. Highest, introversion you can go into is that. Remember, there's no 50-50 and all that. Either you see the rope or you see the snake. Never together. You can't say half rope, half snake. Head is, rope, tail only snake. That is not possible. If you see something like that, go and check the doctor. Go to Nimhans, don't go anywhere else. Don't go to any other hospital. Straight go to Nimhans. How is it possible? Either it is rope or it is snake. Full stop. Outside. Yes. It is always outside. It's always outside. Always outside. Every problem of us. You find things external. That's what he is saying. It's a discipline. Remember, any discipline needs effort. You got to probe into your ignorance. And all the masters have been telling us, this entire humanity is deluded. There is only delusion. It's all deluded. What is delusion? What is the meaning of delusions? Delusion means without knowing something, you believe you know. That's called delusion. When you don't know, you believe you know. In fact, it is one step ahead actually. You have never put in any effort to know something and still you believe you know. Like there are a lot of people who have been suffering from a disease, believe they know more about the disease and the problem. Typical example you can see is the people who suffer from diabetes. You tell them there is a different tablet. They'll say, no, 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 no. I've been taking tablet for 20 years. So, so what are you? You know, so the fellow who is suffering, of the disease, he thinks he knows slightly better than the doctor. It is amazing to see people, the delusion. What effort that you had put in to understand something without knowing, you think you know, without understanding. Delusion. What is it that you have understood about any dimension? Not only good, even negative also. You see, even negative also you see. Jealousy. Have you understood what is jealousy? Okay. What have you put in effort to understand jealous? I remember this one, fascinating one he taught in one of the school lectures. Okay. Jealousy is reminded of. There are two friends, ex-wife. Some name is here, Ramu, Somu, something is that. Remember, we'll take it as ex-wife. Easy for us. There are two. Because in one, I've stopped using these names now because it happened in one college. In the explanation about love, we give this example, anger, to explain. Swami always gives this example, so that same was stuck in my mind also. So I was using the same name. Tom loves Elizabeth. John comes in between. And in one, college, the whole class started laughing so much. I couldn't even understand why they're laughing so much. Unfortunately, in that class there was a girl by name Elizabeth. And there was a guy by name John also in the same college. It appeared there is some, connection going on. At least there's a gossip going on there. Again, such an embarrassing thing, Since I said XY is much better. These two fellows, XY, these two fellows started business. They borrowed money from the bank. They started business. And both the fellows were doing so good. Both of them. And both were, started from nothing, from scratch. They built a business and they got a fantastic house. He also built one house. He also built one house. He also had, a few cars. He also had few cars. A good family, also had a good family. And one day, one fellow in a party, they were all, there's a get-together. The get-together, X was telling to other fellow that, I'm planning to, enroll my son for IAS exam, some education, wanted to put him on to. And this guy overheard that. Through that why. He came back. Of course, his son is also as smart as that fellow or as dumb as that fellow. There's no big difference. So he also enrolled that child, his son, to that, entrance exam. He also studied, both had studied, both had appeared for exams. And the results comes in the paper. I'm talking about those days. Today in the net. Those days, in the paper, results come. When the results came in the paper, he got the paper, that why bought the paper, he opens the paper. What will see first? What he will see first? Obviously, he will see his son. Wise son. And wise son number did not appear there in the paper. Right. Then what he will do? Next, what he will do? He asked. Obviously, he will see whether that X son's number is there. Imagine that number is there. Okay. The number is there. If his number appears, how he will feel now? What is the feeling now? My son's number is not there, but his, friend's son's number is there. What is that? He did not tell us. That's called jealousy and all that earlier. All of us said, immediately all of us raised, and said jealousy, Vaitarichal, Paramay, Tamil, of course. He gave a beautiful reply. He said, no, that's not jealousy. Then what is it? That is anchoring, he said. He had that anchoring to get his son. Did not happen. Whereas his friend's son got it. He just felt that's not good. Then what is jealousy? He said, real jealousy is not that. Real jealousy is same thing, same story, same situation. He got the paper. He saw his son. His son's number did not appear. And he saw immediately his friend's son's number. Only changes, that also did not appear. What is the feeling he has now? You see? Thank God. That fellow also did not pass. Yes, that's called real jealousy. The first one is not real jealousy. The second one is real jealousy. That's exactly what all of us do when you read in the newspaper. Someone, lost all that money and he is put in jail. 45 years, the fellow has lived a life of opulence, right? And you read in the papers, he has been convicted and he has to be put in rigorous imprisonment. When you read that, what do you feel internally? They deserve it. They deserve the punishment. Everybody is equal in the eyes of law. All philosophy you talk. Essentially, what is your feeling? This is called introversion. And intellectual means the person who is able to penetrate and see what is the real feelings. What is that he is thinking? What is his real intention? What is his real thought? What is his real experience? Who can see that, probe into it, and has the courage to explore it further. That's not easy to get. It's so tough, so tough. That's why it's a very rare, the intellectual category is a very rare category. You won't find a lot of it. Very rare to find, intellectual people who have the courage to question, courage to think, Otherwise, what we do is categorize everything, bracket. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is it. You just put everything in brackets, bracket all that and say that's what. That's why it is easy for us to, follow Rama. Very difficult to understand Krishna because he does both with same intensity. When he goes and presents his arguments for peace, the way he speaks to the, Kauravas, when he goes as a peacemaker, see that argument, see that presentation, see the way, see the sincerity, the genuinity of this. Beautifully he explains why there should be peace, why you should avoid war. Keep that one side and keep that same Krishna in the battlefield. You see, that's why in Jain scriptures they could not. That's why a lot of us cannot understand Krishna. That's why we couldn't believe how can a master can speak for war, for violence, killing, massacre. The killing is not like it's not just like that. Just disappear. No, it's not like that. It is painful death. It's not just, war death is not just casual. Remember, it's not like, atom bomb, nuclear bomb. Before you realize, you're out. The pace, the speed in which it hits you, that is far better. This in war, dying is not. And remember, 18 Akshonis. The whole entire country, all the regions, all the kings, all those people, every family lost at least one person. Worse than even Second World War. This Mahabharata war was. 18 Akshonis is not a joke. Massacre, that is. And Arjuna speaks non-violence there. And he says, we should not fight this war. Let's get out. And Krishna there argues and says, you must fight. It's impossible for us to reconcile these two Krishnas. So a lot of people who could not convince a religious personality, a spiritual personality, a God personality, a divine personality, can be speaking for war. What to do? But he is speaking. Therefore, we are not able to take it. Since we are not able to take it, what did we do? We said, see, this Mahabharata war, entire Mahabharata itself is not actual war. It is the war happening inside you. What is? Fight between good and bad inside you. That's all. Problem solved. It's all allegorical. I know it's all allegorical. It's not actual. Actually what return happened. Why? I can't take it. I'm not able to take. See, there is a parallel religion which existed along with the Vedic religion. It is Jain. Buddhism is a younger one. Jainism is much, much older. It's parallel to Vedic. In fact, one of the Tirthankaras is of Jain. He is a cousin of Krishna. Neminath. He is a cousin of Krishna. And Krishna would go and visit him and pay respects to him. Many, places is there where Krishna goes to pay respects to him because he is a sannyasi, Krishna was a grihastha. So in the order of things, sannyasa is superior. So always, a grihastha should go and pay respects to a sannyasi. So following the things, Krishna would go. And Nimnath would say, I can't understand why this man is coming. There's no need for him to come. Very interesting, conversations we find, between the two. In Jain scriptures, it's there. That is, since Krishna had participated in the war and he has encouraged the war, when Arjuna wanted to leave and he motivated him to fight the battle, he has also caused the violence. Therefore, where is he now? He is in hell for this kalpa, for this, complete this one. Next cycle of birth, when it starts, the first Tirthanga would be Krishna, because they did not know how to. You can't dismiss the character, the grandeur of a personality like Krishna. You can't dismiss him. At the same time, they are not able to digest also. How do you balance that? They said we balance it like this. What? For this you go, but you are such a great man. So what is it, sir? Next, cycle, when it starts, you are the first in the transition. So Krishna is going to be the first in that. So thereby they, reconcile. But what is it, sir? Non-violence. Now Krishna can be as non-violent as Mahavira. Also, he can be as violent and participate in the war. You can't digest. We just cannot digest that. Together, we cannot. How can a man be the same? So we started thinking what? He just changes his colors. He is such a bad fellow. Because you can't understand how can all that exist with goodness. With goodness, how is it possible for you to speak for war? A good person is one who should be speaking for peace only, no? What you don't understand is this. That's what they say, in English. It's the same, in love and war, everything is correct. Everything is justified. Everything is fine. Everything is allowed in love or war. Two extremes. In war also, everything is justified. In love also, everything is justified. You can't do anything in love. Anything can happen there. Same way, in war also, anything is done. We can't, see that together as one whole. That ability to see life as one homogeneous truth, which accommodates the polar opposites comfortably within itself and continue, is impossible for us to digest. That capacity to probe into that, take it in, assimilate and digest is the process of Gnana Yoga. See, that's what he says. It is a discipline. It's an internal discipline of reflection and contemplation. To reflect and contemplate on the truth. What is the truth, sir? Together, not polar opposites. It synthesizes. Gnana Yoga doesn't divide things, as we all believe. Most of us think today, intellectual means a person who goes on chopping, dividing. So intellect, which is dividing, mind, emotion is that synthesis. Therefore, throw away your intellect is what we all believe. That shows the paucity of thinking. How much we have not understood the equipment called intellect. That's what he goes on saying. People don't know there is a thing called intellect. And people get annoyed. They say, you mean to say only you have it? That shows, a lack of thinking. Gnana Yoga is a discipline employed by the intellect to do what, sir? To probe and understand into the fundamentals of life. And when you go to the fundamentals, you have that, you recognize the mystery, you wonder. In that wonderment, you probe and probe and probe and digest life as whole. As whole means what? Your ability to take the polar opposites equally. Both are treated equal. There's no difference. Krishna treats Arjuna equal, Duryodhana also equal. No difference. Sudama also welcome, Shishubala also welcome. He can treat Shishubala, he can treat Sudama same way. It's almost impossible for us to understand. That's why we say Krishna is a Purnavatar, complete. It is so complete. So Gnana Yoga is a path, a discipline where you probe, you inquire into the fundamentals of life and digest the whole thing. We'll see you in the next class. Thank you.